Production.
Who has never been to a spoken word event? Please raise your hand. All right, cool. So, first thing, we really do this. This is a real thing. It's not just the movies. This represents rhythm, it represents energy. It's how you give the poet that vibe that you're feeling what they're saying without being too intrusive into their pieces. Spoken word is a very, very personal thing. So when a person is up here sharing something that they wrote with you, they're sharing a portion of their life, of their experience with you. So what is spoken word? A spoken word poem is a poem that refuses to stay on the paper. A spoken word poem demands to be heard out loud, and if it's not given a voice, it will grow one of its own. A spoken word piece is one of those poems that has to come alive. And the ranges of subject matter are just so wide. Everything from broken hearts to political issues, and it's nothing short of beautiful. So we are about to hear some amazing spoken word tonight. Is everybody ready for their lineup?
Yeah!
All right. In no particular order, let's make some noise for our performers tonight. We have Beautiful Disaster. My man Keon. Steph Love of Last Tuesday. And last but certainly not least, Hampton Road's own Godchild. I am excited and humbled to be able to be a part of this event and to be able to call people to this stage that not only do I look up to as writers, but that I'm lucky enough to be able to say are my friends and comrades in this artistic community that we've all had a part in growing and nurturing. So, without further ado, if you guys are okay with it, I'll start you guys out with a piece. You mind if I spill those?
Yeah.
This piece is called The Nature of Things. You see, I think that deep down, most hammers would much rather be pillows, preferring to rest a head than to strike one. So you have a rough time believing that sandpaper wouldn't prefer to be satin. You see, I think some of us act harder than we need to, simply because we haven't been presented with the options. Given a choice, I'd like to think that any barrier would much rather be a gate swung wide open like arms that haven't seen you in years saying, come on in, welcome home, you made it.
Spoken word is just, to me, vocal poetry. Once you write in a pad, but you perform it in a way that they can understand your inflection and get the extra meaning that can't be conveyed by reading. My impressions of poetry and spoken word were what I learned in maybe middle school or high school, and I thought it was about lilacs blowing through the trees, and it was really an art form and a genre that I couldn't relate to. People have a lot of preconceived notions about what it is.
A lot of cats that I know that's in this poetry world that see it, constructed and worded how it's supposed to be, but you don't know everybody that has something to say. So when someone has something to say in a form that has to do with poetry, to me that's spoken word. From where they from what they do, who they are, that's spoken word.
Spoken word is poetry that is written to be performed, but it's the way how you perform it. It's your message. It's your expression.
It can do so many things, and people underestimate it and just think it's just a habit. It's just something to do. But really, for some, it's everything.
All right, our first performer to this stage is really no stranger to this stage. She is a Feature Sunday alumni here. She is no stranger to any stage in Hampton Roads, an activist for women's rights and domestic abuse awareness. She is beautiful. She is a disaster. She is a beautiful disaster. Make some noise, everyone.
Spoken word is poetry spoken aloud. It's not just meant to stay on paper, but like for some, it's just like reading your diary out loud, like to complete strangers. So to me, spoken word is just your diary said out loud for anybody to hear it. I never believed in monsters. I never believed in them until the day he showed me that they not only hide in closets, but inside those you hold Teddy Ruxpin close. And so I borrowed Jason's mask to hide from the inevitable, but his contempt dripped from blades sharper than Mr. Kruger's. And now my dreams are in danger. Not hiding between stilettos and empty hangers, but inside I love yous. That meant I loathe you, lust between fornicating strangers. I believe he hated me. And maybe if I'd have seen it the first time he type berated me, dumb bitch, kick to the guts, anything to put degrade in me, he felt I deserved it. So as his hands verbalized just how worthless my pretty teeth were without a little blood to show off their purpose, my old positive made me oh so positive that the bitter copper taste lining my throat wasn't his prerogative. Amidst the traffic jam of broken thoughts, my broken heart was the most cognitive. I heard me crying, my self-respect buried in my sanity dying, same hands around my throat, I couldn't breathe, but I kept trying. Reaching to my heavens, I saw God's tears and heard my grandmother's sign. But then he apologized, and those words worth their weight in gold had my fear suddenly subsidized, until HD x-rays of my thoracic cavity showed me another side of Genesis chapter 2, but instead of giving, this Adam broke ribs with pride. And I didn't even get a damn Granny Smith apple. All I got was promises that he changed before we make it to the chapel. All I did was pick up the pieces left behind by his temper's invisible shrapnel. Subconsciously, I consciously pray for his hugs after each grapple. Imagination mixed with reality, spell love or brutality, but wait, this ain't Scrabble. But still, I loved him. I loved him more than I loved myself. After names became more than nouns and verbally robbed me of self-wealth. After pain was more than a word but evolved to a verb predicated on my health. Tears full of spineless words like paperbacks on crowded shelves. I turned toward accusing mirrors pointing fingers at myself, while tan cover girl concealer made a heaven out of hell. I reached back into the recesses where my memories sometimes dwell, where smiles hid no stresses and didn't dance atop eggshells. I faced a stranger with my eyes who bought the lies he chose to sell. I told her truth she'd never believe until she faced the truth herself. I don't deserve this. Thank you. My mentor is my mother, and she inspires a lot of my writing, and just, I feel she's one of the strongest, if not the strongest woman I know. So just looking at some of the things that she's gone through, and it just makes me feel powerful. So by me feeling powerful, anything I write, like I try to put that into it.
I don't think I can say that I have one person who stands out above all others. I really appreciate everybody, whether I know them personally or whether they're people I've been listening to their albums since I was a kid. I like how everybody does their thing, and everybody, depending on where I am in my life, somebody's words or somebody's lyrics or music or art might inspire me in a different way. Whatever message they're conveying is going to touch me in a different way depending on where I am. So I can't say one person always does that. It kind of depends on me.
I'll hear a song, I'll hear, a story, and it'll spark a line, it'll spark a poem.
It comes from every different direction. Everybody around me, everybody that became before me, or the young cats that come to me asking me for advice or whatever, like that's where it comes from.
I think a lot of my pieces are inspired by the frustration that comes from my observation of the world. You can actually see it when I perform a lot of times. Like my face will kind of ball up. You can hear my voice will kind of even crack sometimes, you know what I'm saying? Because I'll be like agitated, and when I'm speaking, I kind of go back to that place that I was in when I was writing it originally. So it tends to come from frustrated observation.
Ask yourself this. What are you feeding your life? And why? Why would you surround yourself with people who don't have what you need in your life? If the load you bear is heavy, then you're going to need assistance to lift it. And if you about mobility, your support system can't be shiftless. You need sufficient advocates for the changes you want to invoke, but you're in a different lane than those in your cabinet, and it's inhibiting your growth. They'd rather be broke and just cope than seek hope and keep focused. They ain't even notice that it's evident. Losers learn the slowest, and you bogus rolling with folk prone to sit down, stay in, and do nothing. When you know you need to get up, get out, and get something. Cut them dudes loose, because they nothing but liabilities. Vessels without a voyage. Their lack of desire is killing me. Afraid of their own improvement, in fear of responsibility, devoid of productive movement, and living lives of futility. Scared to step foot anywhere that they ain't been yet. And the truth is, most niggas don't realize that they men yet. And then get swept into another man's vision, becoming victim to a predator who caught you stuck in transition, transmitting you got no nuts and no fucking ambition, no guts, so no glory, cause you got no damn mission. And that's what makes you so sad. Cause you can't even start to use a heart that you don't got to chase a vision you never had. No heart, no vision, just a brain. Like a computer. An expendable commodity to be used by your user. And the bad part is your user ain't much better. They just a little less confused than you were. You're not even suppressed by someone respectable. So what does that make you, sir? A subservient subordinate, subdued by a loser. And truth hurts. But pain is expected when progression is what you seek. Yes, blessed are the meek, but ingested are the weak. Pathetic pleas from passive sheep. Just let wolves know it's time to eat. So keep weak people out your circle. Because bitch-assness from bitch-ass guys has the tendency to metastasize. Don't get sick from cowards. Get sick of cowards. Get empowered or get devoured. Get thick from cowards and eat them bastards. That's what they get for being average. Fuck them. Beast mode shit. I know it's savage, but Pete, you gotta be at least a little bit gritty when ain't no pity in the soul of the country, and ain't no love in the heart of the city, and ain't no church in the wild, and ain't no rest for the weary, ain't no gain without pain. All progress pending struggle. So in the terms of the day, ain't no winning with no hustle. It ain't no hustle without the courage to actually take on your mission. So again I say, get empowered or get devoured. You gotta make a decision.
I was surprised to hear how many people tell me that my style is distinctive. I was like, I don't feel like it's anything special about what I do. And people were like, no, you really do something different than everybody else. And I think that's necessary. I think everybody don't aspire to sound a certain way or feel like you have to express yourself in a way that you've heard other people express themselves. Just do you, and people will find a way to appreciate it. That's what I like about the 757. We have so many different styles, and the variety of poets out here is just uncanny. It's unbelievable, and that's what I like. Everybody has their own thing.
You just have to be true to it. You can't, don't write something just to be writing it. If you're going to speak it, make sure it's true. Whether you're telling your story, somebody you love story, something that inspires you, don't just write BS just to say you're a spoken word artist. You have to give it your all if you're gonna do it.
Practice, also read, listen to the people around you, listen to spoken word artists that, have been doing this for a while, even the ones that, are just starting to. Know your surroundings, know who's out there, and if you're serious about your crafts, practice.
Do you, because that's the advantage that you have over the crowd. No one can do you like you do you. So if you do you to the fullest extent, nobody can copy it, nobody can duplicate it, nobody can ever come behind you. If you doing what you're doing to the fullest extent, man, that's it.
The one thing everyone should know about spoken word is that it has the ability to evolve you. I've become a totally different person ever since I kind of joined the scene. I've met so many different people, and everybody in the poetry scene is very self-examined. So there's so much you can learn from these people, and it's more than just hearing a couple little words that you can't understand that night at the venue. Like, there's a lot more that goes into it, and you can come out there and you can laugh, you come out there and you can learn, you come out there and you can be inspired. So it can evolve you.
It is powerful. It has the ability to bring everybody together, regardless of who is on that stage and what you are hearing. Somebody is going to relate to that artist and in that piece.
It will take the things that you can't say or didn't think about, or answers to questions that you didn't have, or questions that you wouldn't ask, and it answers those questions. It takes it to a whole nother place that a lot of people wouldn't recognize. At the end of the day, it's like, I'm a part of what they say, but I'm not a part of what they say. That's what spoken word does.
I think that until people actually get to hear a certain female speak, you know, there's just this stigma that we're going to walk in there and talk about love, roses are red, violets are blue, or we're just going to talk about heartache. It's like we can't get gritty, or we can't get nasty, or we can't like be deep and talk about real life situations. Our women, our world doesn't revolve around men.
I think everyone is expecting them to always spit about, you know, like heartbreak or man-bashing poems. But I feel like sometimes, and this is with anything, you know, the woman has to come 1,000%. This joint is called Say Their Names. This goes deeper than global warming, deeper than farm-raised animals fed hormonally injected superfoods, more than being forced to fight wars that were never meant for fighting. There are wars going on outside of our homes, and our sons are dying, our men are dying, our women are dying. The media keeps supplying these images painted in headlines, boldly printed with yet another name that will be added to a list that will sadly keep expanding. Too many titles pulling our eyes in different directions, too much going on for digestion. Ferguson, Charleston, Baltimore, just to name a few. I want to know, how is it okay to tell mothers that their babies are threats to society, and that society will throw you in a class and under a bus, and that society has already classified you in a stereotype so loud you'd go deaf from the decibels, if not dead from causes probable? Why is it that a justice system designed for the people to help the people still can't seem to reach decisions that should be logical? The verdicts are all the same while the families of the slain prepare for their year of firsts. Imagine your son or daughter in a coffin being carried off in a hearse while their murderer gets off scot-free with paid administrative leave, no real punishment. They just resign before they are truly exposed. They're afraid of what they don't know, so they're quick to ship you out of here, but was so quick to get you in here in the first place. I don't know how any of this feels. But I do know that many generations before me have taught that genocide and racism are common denominators in decreasing a population, between gentrification and poverty, fast food nations and fiberglass filtered cigarettes. I mean, honestly, I don't know what's killing us faster. Is it the trigger-happy gunmen who have had chips on their shoulders larger than the dreams they have managed to diminish? Is it the police officers with egos and will to kill those attempting to mind their own business? From hoodies being threatening fashion statements to the I can't breathe, from the hate crimes of Emmett Till to the world's ill will towards color. These are the reasons for protests when we don't respect one another. How can you expect a nation to keep silent when the result of this type of violence is expected to raise voices to sky-high volumes? I gasp and cry each time I catch a caption in my newsfeed that reads, police brutality ending in fatality, another casualty, another funeral, another t-shirt printed, another trial, another case dismissed, another name added to this list. I'm so tired of these crooked-ass cops unjustly killing our youth in the news and justifying their actions with self-defense as their excuse. I'm tired of injustices shattering the hearts of the people like this is the new cool. I'm tired of the list of lives
lives lost at the hands of the unstable grow longer, mainly by the boys in blue. This list continues to grow like this is 1963, but is it 1865 or is this 2016? Some people have no regard for life, as you can clearly see, so it comes down to these next words. I don't feel safe around a clan of men who claim to protect and serve, then contradict their actions, retina stained with targets placed on chest cages, bullets piercing brown skin to spill red on pavements, shooting their frustrations until the hands held in the sky are now limp and covered by a cloth and left in the middle of the street to rot. How is it that you can claim temporary insanity and have all your charges against you magically dropped? These questions already know their answers. These problems are bigger than the medical industry hiding the cures for AIDS and cancer. The problem is that so much has happened since I first started to write this poem. The problem is that so much had already happened since I first started to write this poem. So much so that now 8 churches have been burned to the ground with no explanation as to why. Before that, 9 lives were taken by the bullets of a 21-year-old's planned attack against people sitting close to God's throne. After that, a Texas police officer manhandles a bikini-clad black girl at a pool party, all captured on someone's camera phone. Before that, riots ran rampant on Baltimore's cobblestones, and now even traffic stops are proven to be deadly. We still don't know what happened to Sandra Bland, but we saw what happened to Samuel DuBose, Eric Garner, Walter Scott. Say their names. Tamir Rice, Mike Brown, Sean Bell. Say their names. Ayanna Jones, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray. Say all of their names. Say their names. Say the names that came before their names, and say the names that might come after their names. Just never forget their names. They say that progress is a slow process and forgiving is for the strong. Well, I have seen resentment kill the weak, so how much more can one take if all they do is encounter defeat? So many stories pieced together in a kaleidoscope of perspectives, all rolled into one view, no matter how you try to dissect it. The world we're living in is on fire, and there aren't enough ice bucket challenges to extinguish the flames caused by hate. Even if the world is covered by 71% water, we would still find a way to set ablaze a beautiful thing with ugly intentions. Thank you so much.
For me, it's being flawless in the performance, making sure that, I delivered it the same way how I practiced it.
If I cried writing this piece and I see someone in the audience crying, I did my job. If I, just was feeling empowered when I wrote this and I spit it, and then people come up to me after and they're like, I feel I'm inspired, I'm motivated to do something, then that lets me know I did my job.
I've had times where the crowd gave me excellent feedback, but I know I just didn't get off what I wanted to get off the way I wanted to get it off. So killing it is personal, but as far as everybody else is concerned, like if people are dapping you up and they were engaged the whole time, and you hear that feedback while you're on the stage, and you know that they were paying attention, and they appreciate and they're repeating things that you said back to you after you get off the stage, and you know you did a good job.
You know you did your thing, and then you go home with it and carry that home with you, and that helps you with your writing, with your performance. It helps you with your everything. Both of us are naked, but only one of us is exposed. Present but distant, incoherent, innermost utterings provoked by pills and alcohol. See, I'm inside her, but I'm nowhere near where she really is. Kids, work, bad decisions in men, self-medicating, self-prescribed, so her booty call to me was something like a call for help. She is offering herself in return for attention, a temporary fix, but in the moment it is so permanent. See, I'm looking for another condom when she needs a tourniquet. Her flaws require gauze in the form of a man's arms. See, I heard "fuck me" when she really said "love me." Not that I wasn't paying attention, just when you're at attention, it's hard. So listen, attentively, especially when she says one thing, but it's not what she really means. She is telling me she wants me, but that's not what she needs. I didn't know I was her last resort. She would have to resort to a look. She's hurt. I'm horny. I'm about to bust. She is on the brink of tears. Substituting quarters for comfort just for someone to be here, then waking up forgetting she even invited me there. Like I just suddenly appeared. I mean, sobs in my arms, convulsions in my palms, Kama Sutra or Psalms. She didn't need God, child. She just needed God. But a child is what she settles for, a simple metaphor, but so complicated, and sex was only complicated, and I felt obligated to a woman I ain't even involved with. Shit. Now, we are both exposed past bones. She cried herself to sleep next to my heartbeat. See, I went from just being aroused to damn near being espoused. Misery loves company. She just wanted someone around until she passed out with no memory, and the only evidence of this happening is her call history. See, for most women, being vulnerable is a liability. And you can't just call the man at 3 o'clock in the morning just to come over and cuddle with me. And the quickest way to get that man to help is to offer yourself physically, but mentally, if you ask how she really felt, it's met with the sentiment of, if I tell you, I had to kill you. Or something like this. After this tryst, this didn't happen, and you don't exist. I won't even acknowledge your ass if I see you in public. See, I heard fuck me, but she really said love me. I couldn't understand clearly because only one of my heads have ears clearly. I had to learn to listen with my eyes because an erection can cause bad hearing. It's a back and forth. It's a back and forth. Because it's like, there's so many heads that won't hear, what you're doing. And there's so many heads that can hear to see what you're doing. So it's like, it's a big ass balance. You know what I'm saying? But at the end, it's love.
Dear spoken word, thank you for being there when my shoulder wasn't.
You've been good to me, and I'll continue to be good to you.
The folks love us together. So let's keep doing this together till I'm gone.
Dear spoken word, thank you for saving my life.
That's my piece. Say your name again. It's an easier lead-in.
I'm B Diz, aka Beautiful Disaster. Actually, Beautiful Disaster, aka B Diz, and that's my piece.
Yeah, you get
Doing my
step
thing.
out.
That's my piece.
That's my piece. Oh yeah, you do gotta say it.
2 up, 2 down.
Yeah, you do.
And that's my piece. Peace.
Crash Production.